So first, to clear up why we got divorced, in her words, I'm a good provider that misses all the small things. I can also be selfish with my time. I feel she's right. I do miss a lot of the small things. I have ADHD, which I think makes having a relationship hard because I can get bored with a relationship fairly easily. Also, I can be selfish with my time. Nevertheless, long story short, we got divorced, not America FYI, so if the laws seem different, it's cause they are. We also have a son now, as my divorce was finalizing. I was in the process of changing my career, and I tripled my income. My wife and I had initially agreed upon I will cover daycare. Her rent, it's about $400 USD when converted, and that will be my level of support. I will also get my child every Thursday to SAT, with her picking up at 6 p.m. SAT. He's still quite young. Well, in between that agreement happening and the court data where that agreement gets essentially sealed, I landed a much more lucrative job. It is something I have been working on for a while, training myself for, and in a lot of ways I feel like led to our divorce. We both worked. I came home and studied, and she took care of our son. Obviously, she's stressing with our son, and I'm sitting in an office. I think she felt like I wasn't doing anything of value, because it can be hard to see progress when the progress is happening in someone's mind. And it's not even a subject she really understood or was interested in. So when we got to court, the judge went over our agreement and asked if we had any concerns, questions, objections. I told the judge I wanted to modify the support I was going to provide. I told the judge I wanted to offer daycare her rent $750 for monetary support, set up a college fund, and contribute at least $3,000 a year so when he's old enough to go college he has a healthy fund to do so. This is significantly more than we had agreed upon. My ex-wife was fine with it, obviously. And that was done. My son is my son. And just because I wasn't the best husband doesn't mean I can't try and be the best dad I can be. My ex-wife later asked me why I increased the amount, and I said I started a new career. It's stable. I work for a good company. I can afford it. And therefore I wanted to provide for it. I think at that moment it started to click in her head. All those nights studying wasn't me wasting time, it was me working for a future. Yes, that time I spent studying did mean she had to carry the burden of a new baby duties. That sucks for her. But we had agreed this was the path we were going to take. She wanted the divorce. I tried to avoid it. She insisted. She got what she wanted. I'm still very much single. I actually enjoy being single. However, she's been asking to come visit. She wants to go and have a play day and drink coffee. And I asked her, are you trying to start a relationship with me again? And she said yes. I still do love her. She's the mother to my child. However, she also wanted the divorce, and it really hurt. I remember having to tell my family I was getting divorced. That was painful. I remember missing her, and that was painful. I remember missing so many wonderful things about being married to her and having her in my life, and it took me a long time to get over those feelings. And now she wants back in. I think she sees that my life is better now. I have more free time. But I'm not sure if I want that. I'm not sure if I want her again in my life. And if I did, I'm not sure if it's a good idea. Thoughts. A few things. Did my wife and I talk about my studies? What I was going to study and why? Yes, we did. I pointed out how I was basically studying a hobby of mine and was going work to make it a professional career of mine. That it was going to take a lot of time out of my life. It was probably going to be hard with a baby. But we'd have to and find a way to balance it. Do I think it's all money? No, my wife actually dated a very rich man before she met me. This man owned a very successful company. Rich. I am not close to that. I am a regular worker who now works in a field that pays well. I think if my wife really only cared about money, she would still be with her rich ex-boyfriend. Was I a good husband? No, I don't think I was. After our son was born, I dived into my studies. I worked extra hard at work to bring home extra money. I spent all my energy providing for us. I had nothing left in the tank for affection and love. She carried the burden of taking care of our son. I do think it was the right decision, though. I do not regret it.
My husband hates me and is so angry with me. On what not to do in a sinking marriage. I have had a DB that has gone on for 20 years with my husband. I was happy for 15 years, and then one day I wasn't. I was consumed by loss. I was almost 40, and I never had a sex life. I never experienced desire, or any of it. It was all shut off from me, and I never would. To this day, I'm not sure what changed in me. It seems trite, but it was out of my hands. I didn't choose to change, I just did. I can explain it no other way. Eventually things got so bad that I voiced a final concern to my husband. I thought maybe opening the marriage would work. He was furious with me and accused me of already cheating on him. him. I explained that we had no chemistry, the sex we did have was awkward and uncomfortable for both of us, that we'd go months and years at a time without sex, everything was so good, maybe we could outsource this one thing. He reluctantly agreed. I never did much but talk to people online, with one person in particular. But my husband started hounding my whereabouts, constantly asking me about where I was, what I did, who I was with. Eventually he got wind that I really was involved with someone online. He told me that I should just fucking divorce me. Pack your shit up and leave if that's what you want. I should have taken him up on that. But I felt so much guilt and fear, and I didn't want to leave, so I backed down and agreed to close the marriage. Today my husband throws this period of time in my face and says, "You've hurt me so badly. You cheated on me." I tell him that he did agree to open, but he says it was my idea and I forced it. So it's my fault, and I cheated on him. I can't untwist this logic. He's also angry at me because I do discuss my marriage and troubles with my best friend, and he knows I'm on Reddit. He's an alcoholic, and he also blames me for this. He says that his drinking isn't a problem, that it's all my fault because I'm forcing something on him that he doesn't want, divorce, separation, and didn't ask for. So he just drinks to feel better. I brought up his drinking problem a solid year before I voiced my final unhappiness with the DB. He only started drinking more. I know that alcoholism is a progressive disease, and this is part of it, making excuses, protecting it. I don't fault him because I know it's not his choice, it's the addiction. But again, I can't untwist this logic. He's mad at me because I eventually refused to try to fix the sex issue. This is also something that is hard to understand and sounds like an excuse, but it's out of my hands. After so much neglect and rejection, and finally realizing that the sex we did have was not good, I intrinsically did not trust him anymore in that manner, and I ended up with an aversion. I don't want him to touch me, I cringe, and beyond a chaste hug and kiss, I can't handle him touching me at all. This hurts his feelings and he blames me for having an aversion. I took sex off the table for both of us a few years ago. I didn't want to fake it or try. Unfortunately, I was also the initiator of all the affection in the relationship, and that kind of feel off too, and my husband says he feels lonely and sad, and is upset at me for doing this to him. I asked repeatedly over the years, "Do you want me to move out? Would it be better if we lived apart?" He always answered, "I don't want you to go anywhere, I love you and want you home with me." So I stayed. He has no friends or family. I'm understanding of this. I have few friends and a fractured family, but I have people outside of our marriage. I do things socially once or twice a month. I talk to my best friend on the phone once or twice a week, and I also enjoy doing things solo. My husband wants to do everything with me, does not want to make friends because he perceives that no one likes him, and he's angry at me because I'm the only one he has, and I'm leaving. He says that he loves me unconditionally, and that I should be the one to love him that way, too, but ultimately I guess I couldn't. How the hell did this happen? Our marriage was so harmonious and happy for so many years. I still rue the period of time when the DB really started to bother me, when my loss started to weigh on me. I wish I could take it back, or have seen it through and not said anything to him at all. I couldn't do it at the time, but in hindsight, once our relationship was no longer salvageable, I should have made more concrete steps to go. Rip the band-aid off, as they say. I couldn't do it though. I tried to file for divorce and got sick over it. I couldn't follow through. This is the one person I never wanted to hurt, and I've made a huge mess of things. After last night's conversation with him, when I realized the sheer amount of resentment he has towards me, I wish I could have been stronger and gone through with this a few years ago. Not because of lost time, but because I made things worse than they had to be. Leaving was not an option for so long, and I racked my brain trying to find a way to make the marriage tenable for us both. But all it did was make my husband's anger and resentment towards me grow, at me and towards himself. He drinks so much I legit worry he's going permanent at damage to himself. I have no idea why a dead bedroom ruins relationships like this. Ours started that way, and I still can't figure out why it was the things that undid my happy marriage. I wish I could be happy and celibate, but in a way, my husband won't even meet me halfway on that. Common wisdom is try everything and then you'll at least know it's for the best. But trying everything just made everything so much worse than it had to be. I am so sorry that things ended up like this. I've apologized to my husband a million times, and it will never be enough. I'll never be sorry enough, and I fear that I'll have to carry this shame around forever. A failed marriage, a bad wife, a shitty, terrible person than I am. I have only been with one person, and when it comes to the end, I just didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I feel so stupid, and I feel so guilty that I handled things so badly. I just needed to vent. It's so awful where things end up. This marriage has sucked the life out of me. I never want to get married again, and right now I have zero interest in dating, or sex, or any of it. I just want to be on my own, in my own space, in my own way.